it to be Ashley. And she's been the voice and the life behind Ahsoka since the movie came out, the original theatrical release movie. And a lot of people I've heard some people upset that it's not Ashley and this and that. And, you know, Clayton did confirm that, the only thing he said, the only other thing he confirmed is Ashley X9 is not was not casted for the role. That was the only thing that was the only other part he could confirm. And, screen acting is very different than voice acting. I know Ashley has been on screen when she was younger. She was a part of the the blue collar comedy show that they did for a while. And she's had some guest spots here and there on different shows. And so she's done the on-screen acting thing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, but it's a different ballgame, especially where she is in life right now. It's not like she's just doing Clone Wars and voice acting and that's it. And she has her universe. She has that is taking up a huge part of her time. I mean, that company has exploded to be one of the premier geek clothing lines, period. So I constantly see her posting, oh, I'm over here for this, I'm over here for that. And it's all her universe related. So I can definitely understand her not having the time to commit to something like this, because that would be a huge commitment. And it's not something like you just walk into the booth, record a couple lines for a day, and then you walk home. You're talking about weeks, depending on how many episodes she's in, days, weeks of her time just completely isolated away in production, doing makeup and all that stuff. Then you have any post-production stuff she would need to do, extra voiceovers and stuff. It would be a huge commitment on her time when she's trying to run a multi-million-dollar international corporation.
Yeah.
So I can understand why she couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But at the same point, I can understand everybody's feelings where I wish it was Ahsoka.
Now it'll be interesting if they use her voice, dub that. I don't know. But
it's still a possibility. I mean, she did come back and do voiceover for Rise of Skywalker, the movie. She was in that scene there at the end when all the Jedi were talking to Rey. You can do this, Rey. Get up, Rey. The Force is with you, Rey. Ahsoka was in that.
Mm-hmm.
But so the president is there for her to do voiceover for it. But at the same point, if you're going to hire, and we don't know who plays it, but let's say if they do hire somebody as big as Rosario Dawson, you're not hiring her just to stand there and act. You're hiring her for everything.
True. And with Solo, you had Alden Ehrenreich, playing Solo. That's not Harrison Ford. And so in this case, you could have her doing the action sequences and the voice, Yeah.
Exactly. It'd been like having Harrison voice over for Alden and Billy D voicing over for Glover. It just wouldn't work. So it just, I don't know. I can understand the thoughts and I understand, because there's part of me that says it's Ashley. It needs to be Ashley. And I can understand that. But at the same point, I can understand not casting Ashley. And to me, it's kind of the same way I felt, to be honest, when we heard they were doing twin sons in Rebels, and they were going to finally have that Kenobi Maul fight, but Kenobi was going to be voiced by Stephen Stanton, not James Arnold Taylor. So I kind of had that same. I like Stephen Stanton. I like James Arnold Taylor. James Arnold Taylor is my Kenobi. But I like Stephen Stanton. and once it was all said and done, and I watched it, it's one of my favorite episodes of Rebels. I think Stanton did a fabulous job doing old Ben, but I got a feeling this is going to be the same way where we're all going to go in, we're just going to be hesitant. It's not Ashley, and it's going to be incredible. That's a lot of the feelings for Solo were the same way. It's not Harrison. Who cares? they've
Sure.
proven
Yeah.
they've been able to recast people and make them fit the personality because they're not playing the actor or the actress, they're playing the character, and anybody can play the character.
Understood. Yes. Understood.
So,
Yeah.
so we'll see what happens there. It's going to be interesting to see when that comes out. I'd still love an official statement from Disney and Lucasfilm on that. Knowing how they played season 1 so close to the chest, I don't expect it until we are watching the episodes in October, which, I mean, remember they were scheduled for release in October, is what we heard from Bob Iger. Now, I know a lot of production and stuff is shut down out in California, and everywhere is shutting down everywhere. So I don't know. I haven't heard if season 2 of Mandalorian's being pushed back, because even though filming is done, there's still a lot of post-production to do. I haven't heard if any of that's getting pushed back or anything. But as of right now, we got to wait till at least October.
Yeah, and with all of us being at home for more time, it'd be great if they hurried it up and released it sooner. But not going to happen, I don't think. They did it, obviously advance the release of the digital version of the Rise of Skywalker. But no, I agree with you. We're gonna have to wait till October at least. And but it's something to look forward to.
It really is. It's going to be fun to look forward to. It's definitely going to put make it through this time. We got something to look forward to. Gives us hope.
Yes.
Hope. So, yeah. So that actually does wrap up and conclude actually all of our news tonight. So great, lots of fun news there. But we do have an episode of the Clone Wars that we are going to discuss. So let's go ahead and jump into that. This week's episode, Gone Without a Trace, was released on Disney Plus on March 20th, 2020, written by Charles Murray and the fabulous Dave Filoni, directed by Saul Ruiz and Kyle Dunleavy. Of course, the fortune cookie for this episode: if there's no path before you, create your own. This episode, of course, takes place in the lower levels of Coruscant, where Ahsoka Tano, who is basically just walked away from the Jedi Order, is basically looking for identity at this point. She's starts off with her riding a speeder. She winds up crashing it while going to the lower levels, ends up on level 1313, where she meets Trace Martez, who then she helps with some thugs. Her sister Rafa, of course, seems to be more of like a scam artist. They are just trying to live their lives on and survive in the under levels of Coruscant. The droids she takes a job trying to fix some droids. Ahsoka helps. The droids go bonkers. They're tearing up level 1313, and if it wasn't for Ahsoka, they would have. She ends up saving the day and becoming close friends with Trace, but Rafa's, we're still really not sure what to think of her. So that essentially is Gone with a Trace. And it just hit me. It was called Gone with a Trace, and Trace is the name of the girl. That's sad. That just hit me.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Oh my gosh. I feel so, oh geez. So while I bask in my ignorance for a few minutes, David, what were your initial thoughts when you watched this episode?
We still love you, brother. We still love you. No, to be honest, after I watched this episode, I wasn't sure what to think. I was like, did I miss something? Kind of coming after, the end of season 5, which was so many years ago now. I think that ended in 2012, if you can believe that. And then these episodes were going into production later in 2012. I loved, just how powerful it was when Ahsoka and Anakin spoke there on the steps of the Jedi Temple, and when she walks away. And of course, you and I have talked about Kevin Kiner's music, and just tears are flowing as she leaves, and it was just so powerful. And so then we get into this, and it shows her on her speeder and then heading down to the lower levels. But I was not overly impressed with this. Nothing like the last episode we saw her in, again with Anakin there, saying goodbye to each other. So I went back, watched it again, and then, of course, as you and I do, went to the episode guide and also watched the Clone Wars download, which they're doing for every episode. And I really wanted to take this angle, and it just made it so much more interesting to me. But if you listen to Dave Filoni on Clone Wars download and go through the episode guide, you really see that he wanted to juxtapose Ahsoka and her life on the surface, particularly up in the Jedi Temple, with Trace and Rafa's life in the Coruscant underworld. And we know that prior to Order 66, we get to see how the average person, per Dave Filoni, sees the Jedi, the galaxy, and life in general. I just watched that Clone Wars download again, and you hear Dave comment on how the Jedi just, were viewed by people as having lost touch with them, and of course they were being, pulled in so many different directions with the Clone Wars, right? And so, so I think for me, I started to look at this episode not just from a merely surface level, but from a deeper, below the surface level perspective, and so. What I did get from what Dave was saying is that he's wanting Ahsoka's worldview to be challenged, and just like he says in Clone Wars download, it was already challenged when the Jedi turned on her. So here, the people you care about turning on you, that shocks your yourself and your worldview, and then here she is in her first interactions with people down there after she's left the Jedi Order. We see her getting challenged even more. I'll suffice it to say that we could go very surface level on this episode, and I don't know that we'd be that entertained. But at a deeper level, I'd say this. I've read a lot of different stuff on different religions and so on and so forth. But I'll say this, that if people, and in this case it was Trace and Rafa, particularly Trace, if you're from a particular religious background and people ask you 3 to 4 questions to challenge your beliefs, and you crumble or your faith crumbles, you have to ask, what did you have to start with? Now, in this case, Ahsoka's in a position where she's not feeling great about the Jedi and the spiritual tradition that she was being trained in, and now she's getting hammered again. So that's tough, and this is going to be a big challenge for her. Now, I will say this: I did watch the minute 15-second video that StarWars.com released of the next episode, Deal or No Deal, and once again you hear Rafa and Trace and the way that they talk and how it's very different, and Ahsoka struggling with it. So it sounds like this is going to continue on to the next episode. But in final thoughts, I'll talk even a little bit more deeply about what Dave was saying and how it applies to our world today. So I usually have 2 to 3 points, but I kind of want to just stay on that deeper level because that really interested me the most from this episode.
Very good, very good. No, I there's just no way to say this. I didn't like the episode. Um, it I tried looking